Hello, so as you can see, the thing a lot of you requested has come, but when there's quite a few people on the stream, I need to ask you a question for anybody capable, because I'm very interested, so I need to wait for you to all get on the stream, and then we can ask the question. But don't forget to like the stream when you come on as well. And I'll be on for about an hour, maybe a bit more, depends. But problem with these colour ones is you immediately see fingerprints on them. Hello, Ivan. Hello, Joseph. Hello, Conker. Hello, Mike. Hello, Ivan. Hello, a bandit. He says, it's me again. Hello, Old Bean. Hello, Paul. Ah, cool. Well, US 740. Nice. So, yeah. What I want you to do is, if you're in the UK at the moment, or somewhere in Europe, and it's raining, and you've got a Geiger counter, can you put it next to a window and take a reading for me? Because since it started raining, all of my Geiger counters have gone up in dose. You know, they're like clicking faster. And I took one outside to take some measurements outside, and it was higher outside, you know, where it was raining, so I filmed some of that. I might stick it on a video tomorrow. And then when I came in and checked my hoodie, where it got wet, the hoodie was above background. So, yeah, if it's raining in the UK where you are currently, and you've got a Geiger counter, tell me if it's higher where you are. Because I'm wondering if this is the fires from Ukraine in the zone, putting radionuclides into essentially the rain. I know that's my point. So yeah, I want to find out real time why this is going on, if it's from that. Well, it's higher than background, potentially contaminate stuff. Cheers, Nordic. I know the zone is on fire, Bandit. You don't know, Ben, about the Chernobyl fires, that they've essentially got forest fires in the zone, and you know, it was only a matter of time in theory before fallout from it arrived in places, and now it's raining, all my Geigers suddenly started going up. And I thought that's weird, so I took one outside, and the highest levels I can find are walking around in the rain. That's a shame, Old Bean, but yeah. And just in case anybody doesn't believe me, let me just get a clip up I filmed on my phone and show you. I know this isn't me fucking about, you know, I've not got a 4am lamp mantle just out of frame or something. I'm being quite serious here. So, see if I can get it to flip. Right, hopefully that's bright enough you can see. I didn't have the beeper on, but see that? That was filmed just outside. Cheers, Handless Mace Window. He said you should do a bug out video of what you would carry and whatnot. Would be cool video to see. Yeah, and hope all is well with you, man. Yeah, I'm good, thank you. But yeah, I'll get around to doing a bug out bag eventually, but I wouldn't really ever consider bugging out for people that donate. Super chats like this Mace Window did, and then you have to give your Discord ID or Patreon. There's a link below. But yeah, isn't Krakatoa erupting? One of my friends said. I want to Google this. Krakatoa volcano. Yes, Indonesian volcano Anak Krakatoa, which triggered deadly 2018 tsunami, erupts again. Brilliant. 2020, what a lovely year. Underdo, nobody cared who I was until I put on the mask. I'll have to look up the CFF3 filter, but it's probably fine. Let's see, CFF3 filter. Oh, the French ones. They'll be absolutely fine. I mean, for some reason, when I'm searching this, it's coming up with a load of pictures of women in leggings, which I don't mind, but it wasn't really what I was looking for. Ah, that's good, Conker. So yeah, just to repeat it, has anybody come on the stream now where it's raining, like in Western Europe, and do you have a Geiger counter or some low-level radiation monitoring device? Because I really want to know now. Cheers, James. What about the snow? Is the snow radioactive? 30, 40 pounds, Tay. Lags, not very worth much. Yeah, they came in a post today, White Wolf, the ones I bought on eBay like a week ago. Yeah, all right, Sparrow. Did you have a Geiger counter, Sparrow, or did you not have a probe for it? Because at the moment, where it's raining, and I was showing people, there's definitely radiation in the rain. Right, Mike, have you not got a spare battery for the dosimeter yet? Because really annoyingly, there's something I'd love for you to test. But it started raining not very long ago, where I was, and all my Geiger counters, all of them because I keep one constantly running on the wall to check everything's safe, started going up. And I thought, that's weird. And I thought, could it possibly be the rain, And I went outside, and yet the levels were higher. Yeah, get a battery, Mike. And then, is it raining where you are? If it is, put it on your windowsill or whatever next to the window, and tell me if it starts going up. I think that's the only explanation I can think of, Steve, unless something else has happened nobody knows about. But yeah, I want to see if anybody else can confirm this, or if it's just some weird fluke thing. But 0.2 microsieverts is background WG, pretty much. But yeah, basically at the moment, the one I keep on my wall, just in case people didn't believe me, is reading 0.045, and it's normally 0.020, and it only went up when it started raining. Yeah, I have multiple counters, and it's not a fluke, Michael. All of them are above. I mean, the ones that are gamma only aren't up as much, so I don't know if it's, potentially beta stuff in it, but yeah, I do have multiple counters, but I just want to see it's nothing like in my exact local area. All right, cheers, Mike. All right, that is complicated, the Sparrow. All right, cheers, Mike. Once it's up and running, pop it on your windowsill, because it's the one that does microsieverts like this one. And yeah, this has gone up from 0.2 to 0.38 now. I'm sure when you saw it in the last stream, that was 0.2. It's still a bit damp, so maybe I shouldn't be touching that, actually. I could actually check it with the therapy and see if it's got contamination from the water on it. Hang on. That's a good idea. Let's put the beeper on. Yeah, look at that. That's way higher than it should be. So yeah, I really need to wash my hands before touching my face or anything. But it's got to be the water. Well, there's buckets in the garden, Michael, so I'll just wait for one of those to collect water. But I don't want to go out in it again because I just had to chuck my other hoodie in the wash. Because if you didn't hear, when I went out the Geiger and filmed couple of bits on my phone, when I measured, I did a contamination check of my hoodie when I came in, and that was higher than it should have been. All right, cool, Mike. What is it reading currently? Because essentially, background would be 0.2 something microsieverts normally in our sort of areas. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, Vapor. All right, Peach, you're missing something quite exciting here. I think there's radioactive shit in the rain at the moment, Peach. Why would you bin a Hungarian filter? What's the point? Yeah, of course, Grubnob. But yeah, because I heard Kiev might have been having higher levels, but Do you have any Geiger's, Peach? Because if you did, I'd ask you to take a measurement, but... It's not currently working then, Mike. It should. Are you on the hour bit, Mike? Because you might be on dose. Press the mode button until it says /H. You need it to look like this. When it light focuses, you need the bit where it says /H. Otherwise, you're not on the right setting. Because that means per hour, as in rate, rather than a cumulative dose. George says, COVID update, fever taken 10 minutes ago, 105 Fahrenheit, chronic dry cough, throat very dry as well. Some trouble breathing, got no sleep last night, very tired overall, feeling better than yesterday, but very tired, yeah. Shame you can't. All right. Yeah, Mike, it'll probably take a moment to get to whatever background is, and then it will start counting. But yeah, that's very weird. Well, I mean, we potentially know what's causing it, don't we? But it's still a bit unsettling, isn't it? That's the... It's weirding me out a bit, but yeah. So yeah, it's check it in like 10 minutes, Mike, if it's on your windowsill, and see if it's gone up. Because if it's any higher than 0.3, it should not be that high. So I'm very interested in what yours says. No, JOB, I'm afraid I don't know anything about getting proper sort of prescription inserts. I've never seen, anybody do it properly in a video, documenting how it's done. It's the last one of my left beers tonight. Yeah, cheers to everybody. But yeah, so yeah, what I want to do is just pop the therapy over on a different surface where it's away from that other thing and see how the reading changes. Sorry, it's not going to be very interesting for the video, but stream, but I'm just very, it's a bit strange, isn't it, when all of a sudden 50 odd Iron Man. Yeah, at the moment, Peach, it is. Well, at the moment, Peach, if what I'm saying is what I think think is going on, then no, because if any of that rain got into you, it's not very much above background, but it's enough that you can notice it. That's the problem. Not very well, Bravo, is the answer to that. All right, Survive. Do you have a Geiger, Jim? Because if you do, I want you to take a reading. Old GP5s leak air into the air. What do you mean? If you're breathing out for a GP5, yes, it would exhale. Well, I don't know, Dwarven. This is what I want to check, because it might just be me going crazy somehow, or something completely, totally unrelated. But since the rain started, all of mine went up. Yeah, the thing is, Daniel, your MD3 is too high dose for this. This is where you need like a contamination meter. If I turn my MD3 on, it will just say 0. Oh, as in it's broken exhale valve, yeah. Depends what you mean, Aldrich, but if you ingest something like strontium-90, you're pretty fucked, in all honesty. Yeah, that's a good idea, Mike. I've got a couple of buckets in the garden, so they'll collect it, but some radionuclides decay pretty quickly. But yeah, I will check it tomorrow as well. But yeah, it's just one of those weird things where because what you might notice if I flip that camera around is that's going back down again. See, it's at 0.00.42 now, where it was about 0.6 earlier. And see, the average is at 50 when I last reset it, but normally this room is 0.2, you know, like your one's reading on your wall. The Therapy is my favourite out of all the ones I've got, Rocky Mountain Rider. Yeah, but if it's got into the air, it's in the air cheat. To a degree, Iron Man, but if you've got acute radiation syndrome, you're doomed. It really depends on what you mean by radiation poisoning. Yeah, but do you believe North Korea, Swaggerino? Right, Steve, the one on the wall reads this room, because it's just a Geiger counter set up in the room, and as said, normally it's 0.2 here, because it has been for all the day. But like I said earlier, when it started raining, I took the Therapy outside, and then that started getting really higher. Wow, you're going to get blocked if you keep putting shit like that in the thing. The virus has nothing to do with 5G. Don't even joke about it, because there's enough loonies that believe that. I'll remove that comment, you do it again, you get a block. Just because it's such a fucking stupid conspiracy theory. And, you know, it just distracts from real conversation. And you can't tell if people are joking in text chat, can you? Vunir says, don't go out and drink in the rain, etc. Well, yeah, of course. I remember a case 30 years ago after they did that and got cancer after. Yeah, well, if that's the thing, if there's radionuclides in the water and you drink it, it can have serious effects. Yep, Frosty, you're late, but you're not too late because I'm still streaming. Yeah, silicone spray is fine for the Shidre 4. Because they're fucking idiots, Preston, is the answer to that. Yeah, it is dropping down now. Has the rain actually stopped? Yeah, I think the rain stopped outside now. So that would explain why the levels are slowly going back to normal again. Well, you can wash them off Too Dumb to Die. But if they're still growing, potentially, yes. Is there an easy way of doing that, Joanne? Like a map like Windy? Is it Windy? Let's do Windy weather map, yeah, and see how do I set the I guess wind's that one, is it? Oh, it's blowing westerly, yeah. So it is a westerly wind, so yes, the wind will have blown from Ukraine, yeah. Yeah, westerly wind. Makes you think, doesn't it? What things that you might have in your house, Iron Man? Because I don't know what you've got in your house. And I'll be careful what I say, you know, because if I'm on a watch list now, I don't want to even joke about something and then get in trouble over it. Yeah, it was contaminated Wayland after Chernobyl. Yeah, yeah. I want to know, Mike, because I'm very interested in this now. All right, so it's, your Geiger counter's broken and it's cloudy. All right. But well, old cathode ray televisions, Iron Man, you know, CRTs do give out X-rays due to electrons in them. But Yeah, all right, I'm waiting for some proper comments again. Oh, cool, yeah, if you've got a Radex Dwarven Miner, yeah, if it does rain where you are, take it out and see. If you don't know what Chernobyl was, why don't you Google it? You know, because if you don't know what the world's worst nuclear disaster is, I really don't know what to tell you. Okay, Nordic, or at least it's safe where you are, but yeah. It's hard to tell because you don't know if it's some sort of weird fluke thing, do you? We don't know what's going on yet, Iron Man. I don't think I'm dying anytime soon. You can try and email them, JB, but they may not give it you unless you're a business. Chernobyl by Miles Swaggerino. You know what? You know when I've already said Chernobyl was the world's worst nuclear disaster, but which one of these was worse? Cheers, Oliver. But did it set on fire the person or what? Are you thinking of a bandit the PH hood, as in or PH helmet, like the Phenate Hexanine helmet, or are you thinking of like the because even things like the English box respirator type ones have like the cloth face pieces for them. Therapies are like 150 quid. They're not all that much for what they are. Thank you, Preston. He said this is for putting up with stupid comments. Thank you. Right, so I'm tell you what, as there's a twat in here that thinks Chernobyl didn't happen, basically, so fuck off, you're gone. Yes, nuclear power is clean, but if you have a burning fucking nuclear reactor fire, it can contaminate everything. But, you know, again, I don't like having people like this on here because they're the same people that won't know how radiation works and then go, policeman, policeman, he's got a dirty bomb. No, I haven't seen that Too Dumb to Die. Or Finale Oakley said, just dropping in to have a great day. Have a great day yourself. If it's digital night vision shed on fire, it's probably not going to be all that great. All right, Waylon, I'm sure you enjoy one. It's just, yeah, normally there's not much to measure with them unless you're actually measuring samples. So this is the first time I think I've ever seen where, you know, the numbers were just shooting up. Cheers, George. He says, got to say I love your videos. They're very informative. I have Cronich fun to come watch these and have a conversation with amazing people. Cheers, George. I mean, yeah, not everybody in the comments is amazing, as we know, but yeah, see if I flick that back round, you'll see the average is dropping down again. I know it goes up and down a little bit, but yeah, it's definitely been under 50 for a bit. So yeah, it's going down again. So it had to have been the rain, as far as I'm aware. You know, cheers to Dwarven Miner. Funnel guns, it totally depends, and I said I'm not qualified to give you the info on it. If it's UVA, UVB, UVC, the wattage of the bulb, proximity to what you're disinfecting, you know, the type of surface, there's not really a straightforward answer. Leave the light on longer if you want to be safe is the answer to that. Yeah, I mean, wind scale wasn't as bad as Chernobyl, but wind scale has certainly led to a lot of cancers in the C-scale area. Oh, Steve, it started going up when it was raining, as said, because obviously rain is hitting the roof, isn't it? So then it started going up. Then I went outside to... Cheers, Daniel. I really appreciate it. So then I went outside to, you know, because I thought, is this, you know, to do with the rain or what? Well, to start with, I didn't even think rain. I thought, that's weird. So I went around the house of the therapy taking readings. You know, and the only place where the readings were high, where I'd expect them to be, was right next to the sample boxes, you know, because I store everything properly, as said. But then, you know, the readings were highest near the windows. I thought, that's fucking weird. So then I went out the side door. All right, cool, Mike. Thanks anyway. But yeah, so then I went outside and took a reading. That was where I was getting the highest numbers. Because, as I said, if you didn't see the things, I'll get one of the videos up again. That was one where it was saying, if it's not too bright. See, it's where the rain, it was getting about 0.63 microsievert, 6.5 on that one. There might have been one spot I had it in that was even higher. And this one was where I had it on a windowsill, and again, that's nearly at 0.6. So that was on a windowsill outside, with the rain dripping on it. Oh, here we go. This is the highest one. This is on a drain cover. Emmanuel says, thank you for not saying HY. Well, I'm very confused. I don't think so, Survive, unless it somehow weighed the mask down, because if anything, wet rubber sticks better. Yeah, $100 for PNV 57E is a bloody steel stug. Well, if you're asking me what I think it is, I think it could have been from those forest fires in Chernobyl if radionuclides went up as fallout and now are coming down as rain. But yeah, so yeah, it's very strange, isn't it? I mean, I suppose there could be other factors of it, but that's the only thing I can think of off the top of my head. Westerly, as said, Andres, everything adds up that it could be that. Like I said, I can't prove for definite, can I? But that's what I was asking some other people in the chat if they did have the stuff and it was raining to, you know, take the Geiger counters to a window or put them, you know, on a windowsill outside and see what they did. All right, cool, George. Cheers. Let me add you now. I'll load up Discord. All right, as soon as you accept that, I can invite you to the server. That's interesting, Rolandus. So I wonder if it could potentially be something else. But I'd be very interested in what it is. Because, yeah. No idea. With a lot of those political things, you can never trust them to put real data on, can you? Yeah, as I've already said several times. Yeah, I think I sent you an invite, didn't I, George? Yeah, I sent you an invite. Right, I'd rather anyway try and go back to chatting about interesting stuff rather than it being... It depends what you mean by concerning, Connor. I mean, in theory, if you're in most places and it goes above background, that's interesting and concerning, isn't it? Because you need to know why it's doing it. But it depends, because the thing is, if you're at a slightly elevated radiation levels for short times, it is really nothing to worry about. You know, because I'm not on about Chernobyl levels. I'm on about, you know, if you were at double background, you know, that's nothing. Because if you're on a flight, it's generally over 1 microsievert per hour dose equivalents. You know, but what my point is that, you know, I think it is concerning in any regard if your local area always has a certain level of radiation and then all of a sudden your Geigers start going off. What does that tell you? I've played War Thunder before, don't play it anymore. I'm not sure, Bravo, what you mean. I mean, in theory, if you've got some old glasses, just take the arms off of them, the temple arms, whatever they call them, and just put this bit on the nose cup, and it should be alright. Cheers, George. I don't particularly like Jack Daniels, but I'll use it on something I enjoy, thank you. Well, as we've said, 5G is not ionizing radiation. Never heard of them, Stanislav, but let me look them up. Sounds like a good idea if somebody's made something like that. Oh yeah, that looks pretty practical. So it is actually like a screw thread. Well, I don't see why that wouldn't work, but I've never seen them for sale, personally. You know, too dumb to lie, people can have different tastes in alcohol. I don't mind scotch and like whiskies and all that, but in general, I prefer like if I'm drinking spirits, like rum most of the time if I'm drinking a neat spirit. It's Left, Marty. Left Brun, whatever it is called, as in brown beer. I'll tell you what I'll do. As soon as this stream ends, I'll quickly edit together that video. Yeah, Big Clive's got a great channel, Connor. Yeah, one of my decimatives in the other room just beeped then. That was interesting. But I think that's just its hourly, not hourly, but you know, every few hours when it logs another microsiever, it beeps. A very overpriced camper, don't pay that for them. That's all I'd say. Yeah, the therapy's giving a slightly lower dose there. I'm just going to put it back next to that other Geiger counter again that I took outside along with the therapy and see if it goes up again by like measurable amount, not like, you know, 0.01 microsieverts, because that doesn't really mean anything. Radon, Rolandus, doesn't give off radon's an alpha thing. You can't detect radon without an alpha probe. So in theory, yeah, if there's radon, you can detect it. But like I've said, I can detect radon. And, you know, my house isn't that bad for radon. Some of the rooms are worse than others, depending on how airtight they are, you know. But the only danger I have of radon is if I don't, you know, vent my samples properly when I open them. But that said, so I do that properly, you know. But no, I don't have a CM2N mask in my collection. Ado says, I love your accent, Jimmy accent. I thought my accent was pretty boring. It's not all that interesting, is it? But wow, Camper, this is what we were just on about for most of the stream, if you didn't hear. That supposedly they're putting them out now. But like I said, we had some rain just now that, you know, came from the east. It was a westerly wind of the rain, and all my Geiger counters started going up. Yeah, there's one X-Doggo I've not reviewed yet, because it turned out to be shit, and I was quite looking forward to it. Then it was shit. Now, where did I put it? It should be on the desk somewhere. I can't see it off the top of my head. yeah, it was one that Mike spotted, and he thought it might be really good, but then when I got it, it turned out to be really, really shit, so I never got around to doing a video on it. No, I would not take iodine unless you're trained to use it. And especially, because iodine only helps you against iodine 131, isn't it, anyway? And again, if that's not the radionuclide in the rain, what is that going to do to help you? You're just going to make yourself ill from taking iodine. Barrow, I don't have any experience with it, so I can't recommend any. Altrix, thank you. Would it be you? Would you be a dumb butt for paying that for a mask? Unless you can find any on eBay, Alex, you're going to be out of luck, same as everybody looking for a mask at the moment. Okay, but your levels are slightly higher than mine. It says 0.63 microsievert when I usually only get as high as 0.14 microsievert. That's interesting. I mean, my area, it always seems to be like 0.2 to 0.25 microsieverts anyway, so you're in actually a much lower level. And I know Cornwall and places is always way higher, isn't it? And it's also going to depend a little bit on your counter. You know, the trends can be accurate, but they don't always agree on a background level with each other. But yeah, that's very interesting. Yeah. Yeah, it was mostly the gas system that made it crap, Mike. It feels well built, just the gas system just leaks all your gas by accident. Yeah, I've reviewed them before, Oliver. They're fine. As I said, I can also prove now. Oh, yeah, just I'll just show you this, just so I know I'm not lying. Bart, I'm sure he doesn't mind me showing you this. I asked Bart about it. You know, he says I had a wander around outside with it, and definitely got a few spikes. It's hard to read mirrored, but you know. But yeah. So yeah, I did ask Bart because I've given him Geiger counters before and sold him to go take a test with them. There's lots of stuff Marty used to be able to buy that's hard to get now. Because one of the examples was, I was going to show the phone thing, wasn't I? But yeah, one of the things was used to be able to get a thing called G's Linctus, which was like a really strong opioid cough medicine, like much stronger than codeine-based ones. It was like a morphine-based one, I think, G's Linctus, like a laudanum. Right, obviously this needs to calibrate when you first turn it on, so the reading isn't as high as what it's saying at the moment. If you can even see that, I think the screen's too bright, isn't it? Hang on a second. But yeah, this is fairly good. I mean, you have to wait for them to calibrate, but for what they are, you know, for the price, these are absolutely fine. In a minute, it should stabilize and then start counting, or you know, going down, or stay similar. But yeah, if it's similar to what my other counters are saying now, it should be about 0.4 microsieverts. So if it starts going below 0.4 and then starts going up again, it will be consistent with the other ones. Yeah, I'll leave that, and if it starts going up again, I'll show it you. Oh, that's interesting, Johnny. I know Biqua rails, whatever is named. I think what was that in a regular dose equivalent, like microsievert or like millirontgens or whatever. But that's like what 84 times normal. I can actually convert Biqua rails, can't I, using the rad calculator thing? So let me do that. But do you mean, was this back in 86, do you mean, Janny? Or do you mean, like, as in what's happening at the moment? But yeah, let me get the rad converter calculator up. And put in... Has it got becquerels on here? Becquerels. No, it doesn't have them on this converter, does it? But I know it's like a thing you use for measuring a check source, isn't it? It's like Curie's becquerels. Becquerel. Barrow says 57.44. Is that nanosieverts? Air sample gamma radiation here in Southern Europe increases the northern you go. I would agree with that, A-Bandit. STM good, GP7 bad. No, it's not the Fushida you're thinking of. Although the Fushidas are definitely based on the S10 series. This is an Avon CT12, the mirrored outserts on it I got. Because a few people suggested me getting them. I've ordered one, Tesco. I'm waiting for it to arrive. The phone thing, Fun with Guns, is a Geiger counter that goes on your phone. It's not really a pure Geiger counter in a sense. What it actually is a... what was I going to say? What this actually is a... it's like a little diode type sensor. But yeah, it functions like a Geiger counter. Basically, every time it counts, it raises the thing. It works the same way as a Geiger counter. Anyway, I can prove this does work because... what I can do, if I get my little automite samples, you know, the little crystals, I keep them in a plastic thing so there's no risk of dust contamination. I don't store these with all my, you know, more serious things because they're not as strong. But if I put that there, see that? So yeah, it does work, and it will start going down again in a minute. Well, it sometimes takes a moment because I think it's done on... tell you what, if I switch it to counts per second, that's the easiest way to demonstrate the number going up and down. So you can see it's there at 0.52. Move that close to it, it will start going up because of obviously the automite in there. Yeah, the point is these work fine. A lot of people think they're complete shit, but I don't think they know what they're talking about. Again, are they as good as a proper Geiger counter? Not by a fucking mile. For $20 to $30 for a little thing that plugs into your smartphone, yes, they're very good. Because the point is, you know, you're not going to get a Geiger counter that works in that sort of price range. So yeah, these FT Lab little diode things are pretty good. Thank you very much, 1111HHH30. He said, what's a good price to pay for a Fushida F2A4? Should I wait till once the pandemic's out? I would say yes. When I got mine, it was about 60 or 70 pounds, and that was a few years ago. It was advertised as brand new, and it wasn't, because it was from the 1990s when they actually, you know, took them all out of stock. And in the 1990s, well, not in the 1990s, but when I bought it, because it was, you know, out of date and the seller said it was brand new, they gave me a partial refund because I could either send it back for a full refund or get a partial one. So I think they gave me like 10 or 20 quid off of it. So I ended up getting it for like £40 in the end. For that price, it's fucking excellent. But if they're like currently hundreds of dollars, don't pay that for them. As much as they're a good mask, I would say wait till all this is over for masks to start massively going down in price when everybody starts selling them who panic bought a mask. But yeah, I love the Fushidas, but I'm currently waiting for them, you know, again, to maybe pick up the military variant. But again, I'm not going to buy a mask like that at the moment because of how overpriced it is. But I'm hoping they start making masks again. I'm normally medium, Caleb, so in your numbers that would be 2, but on like an S10 I'm a size 2 or size 3. On the FM12s and CT12s I'm a size 2. On most masks I'm just a medium size. It does really depend on the mask because some masks are just weirdly sized. £80 at the moment I would go for, just because considering how much other masks have inflated in price, that isn't too bad. Does it come with a filter and a bag or anything? But Considering how much other masks have inflated in price, I don't think that's too bad at all. Well, my favourite one is the Therapy. That's the one I use the most. Because it has a very wide range of, like, you know, measurements. Well, not wide range of measurements, but very, you know, like, it can do from basically low ends of micro sieverts all the way up to several sieverts of gamma radiation per hour. Fosheda. So it's Fosheda, is it? That's how Swedes say it? Fosheda. I'm going to have my Fosheda gas mask. I will definitely forget that. All right, cheers, LLHHH30. Thank you very much for your donation. Look. Some of it's in pristine condition, some of it's in shit condition. It depends on the item. But I try and make sure the condition of it doesn't get worse when I get it. How do you mean, Henry, adjust the DP5V from one mode to the other? What do you mean by one mode to the other? As in what? Beta to gamma radiation or what? As in Draeger M65s, they're alright. And I'm not a massive fan. I think they're a good design, just they could have been made a bit better. I've not got a DP5 handy. My DP5 is actually in one of those boxes back there. But I do have a Polish DP75, which is like a similar but better Geiger counter. So you have your range switch. Lowest setting is 0.5 millirontgen per hour. 0.5 millirontgen, as in the far side of the scale is 5 millirontgen. 0.5. Then it's 0 to 5 millirontgen, 0 to 50 millirontgen, 0 to 500 millirontgen. That's the last switch on this one where it uses beta. After this, it uses the gamma-only tube, up to 5 Rontgen per hour, 50 Rontgen per hour, 500 Rontgen per hour. And when you're on the 500 Rontgen per hour, when you use the bottom range of it, where it says 0 to 500, the DP5 is basically the same as that, but on a 0 to 200 scale. And it says like 0.1, 1, 100, you know, rather than doing it showing you what the last measurement is. But yeah, it's essentially the same way. So you can see if I put that on the lowest scale, you'll see the needle move a little bit with background radiation. But otherwise, you know, you have to obviously have it near a measurement to take a measurement. But yeah, hopefully that answers you. But yeah. All right, I can explain that to you, Tesco, because I had to look into this, and it's really interesting. Right. So the dosimeters in Chernobyl that did that aren't Geiger counters, they're scintillators. Scintillators are much more sensitive to gamma radiation. So with a scintillator, how a scintillator works is a lot of them read per second, not per hour. Right. So on the scintillators, apparently they had in a Chernobyl plant. I've still not been able to find out the exact name of what series of Soviet one it is, because I'd like to buy one just to go 3.6 Rontgen. But it had several measurement ranges, and bear in mind it measures gamma radiation per second. Now, the top scale of it you could do was times 1,000, and it measured in micro Rontgens, which are tiny. A micro Rontgen is smaller than a micro sievert. But 1,000 microrontgens is 1 millirontgen. Now, so if you've got it on times 1,000, so it's let's just say anyway, it's reading 1 millirontgen per second. Now, how many seconds are there in an hour? 3,600. Therefore, 3,600 millirontgens equals 3.6 Rontgen. So they maxed out because the highest you could set them to was 1 millirontgen per second. So per hour, that means 3.6 Rontgen per hour, because 3,600 seconds in an hour. Does that make sense? It's a bit complicated, but basically what it is if you times how many seconds there are in an hour by the max dose it can do in a second, that equals 3.6 Rontgen in 1 hour. Johnny says 100,000 becquerels is considered alarming. When the Russians were doing tests at Kol Peninsula and the Sami people living in Lapland showing up to 200,000 becquerels. Fucking hell. Yeah. The thing is, I'm not too sure about measurements in becquerels. I know obviously higher is bad or higher is more radioactive, but obviously most things I've had experience using are always in like millirontgens, rontgens, microsieverts, centigrays, things like that. So they're much more in dose equivalents or just counts per second or counts per minute, not sample size kind of things. 2 regular GP5s, fuzzy farm fan, and 2 GP5Ms, aka PMG2s. Oh, good, Grobnod. Did you get the actual MP5 rather than the bloody original French one? Yeah, B-Store sent me a load of stuff for free before to review. Not got a problem with B-Store. He's actually one of the people I've said can do it, though, because there's a lot of people that link to my videos and they never asked my permission, but Piotr or B, either one of them did ask my permission to do it. But yeah, that DP75 I showed, that was one he sent me for free. And the thing is, he literally says to me, if I think this stuff is shit, say on a review it's shit, but I like all this old, like, Polish and communist, technology. So maybe that's why he knows I'll give it a good review, because I have a soft spot for it. But yeah, I sent that one back, George, because he said I could keep it, but it's so bulky, and you need somebody else to help you get into it. I said to him, just have it back and sell it, because there's no point in me keeping it. It's a really cool thing, but the amount of space it takes up, and the fact you need somebody else while you stand like that, to put your arms in it and zip you all up, connect all the pumps and make sure the pumps are charged, What about the ID11s? Is that one of these? I don't have the thing that can read these, sadly. But yeah, these are oops, falling apart. These are the yeah, these are weird little dosimeters, these, aren't they? Because they're like one of the ones where the plastic, I think, absorbs radiation, or it's like a scintillation type crystal. And then that can be put in a specific machine that reads how radioactive it's got. But yeah, I've not got the device that can read these. Like the pen dosimeters you can read. Ahmed says, beside the Avon CT12 and ES10, are there any masks of dual 40mm NATO? The GSR you can make 40mm NATO, and the Scott FRR or whatever it's called. I know the GSR's not 40mm by default, but you can just pull the thing off and it's 40mm. Fashida F2s, or Fashidas, however they're pronounced, I'm just going to keep calling it Fashida, or the Skid Mask 90, or whatever it's called, the Swedish military variant, and that's dual filter, potentially, if you wanted it to be dual filter. There will be quite a few, but it's just most people never configure the mask to be dual filter. So PMG's all right, a Bandit. It's not amazing, not great, not terrible. It's a Soviet mask, a middle-of-the-road Soviet mask. It would have been completely serviceable at its time, but not anymore. No, as far as I'm aware, survived. That for the JSP 48, there's 2 types of filters. Evening, Vladimir. We were just playing with some Soviet tech just then. But yeah, the 48, I think, has the P3 filter and the ABEC 1 P3. I think that's the only 2 filters they do for it. Oh, camper. Wow. What country are you in, camper? Because firstly, the laws are going to depend on your country, so please always read the laws in your country. I found a tissue that must have been here when I put it in the wash. It's all mummified. So first tell me what your country is, and I'm not going to be a legal person, who says this is legal, this isn't legal, because I'm not going to go out on a limb and say that in case I get bollocks for it. It'll get you in trouble. But firstly, tell me which country you live in, camper. There's always a very expensive option if you want something that's 100% legal in a lot of countries, and that's to import sealed check sources that come with all documents. I've got a cesium 137 one that comes with like 2 documents proving it's like a signed off thing. Right, you're Romanian, but just pretend you're British. In all honesty, if you're in Romania, it might be even easier for me to advise you. I mean, again, check your local laws. Buy an old radium compass or a radium watch. You'll definitely be able to read that on the Geiger counter. I'd say in most countries where radium is legal, again, check it's legal in your country. In most countries, it comes down to storing it and not being a retard of it. Although in some countries, sadly, apparently overnight, they did make laws that meant like all antique plane dials had to be destroyed and shit like that. If you can get like an old USSR radium compass or something in Romania, camper, that would be the easiest thing to do. Oh, that's interesting, Vladimir. I did not know that. Vladimir says, in Russia, Ukraine, Kazakhstan, Belarus, is totally illegal to send or transport even old radioactive dials. They count as radioactive materials. Study law. So yeah, like Vladimir saying, look up the laws in your country. In the UK, a lot of it comes down to the courier. If you're looking at transport rules for it, because I've found this when I've been looking into them. Certain couriers will and won't transport radioactive materials, or it will have to be up to a certain activity level. 50 to £100, Halon. I know that's quite a wide thing, but I wouldn't pay more than £100 just because at that price point you can start getting things like a therapy. Oh, at the moment, White Wolf, but he'd have to be in the right area for that. I thought that was a Discord ID to start with, George, but thank you. Wow, eBay, like I always say, because there's both good and bad stuff on eBay. And most manufacturers won't sell directly to you either. And thank you again, Daniel. He said, oh, how someone asked about check sources on stream, please visit incoming. I said they're completely free to look through my stuff if they want to. I've not got anything to hide with it, you know. Yeah, cool, Connor. Yeah, just make sure when you solder it, you end up getting it soldered correctly, you know, and it all works. Elizabeth says, sorry I'm late, everybody. I'll be going off in about 5 to 10 minutes then. But yeah, I'll wait for there to be some more questions to answer. I don't know, Sparrow, because again, it's the real ones, not 3D printed ones, because you can find all colours that people have 3D printed, but I don't know why you'd need a dual 40mm amide. Just use a single filter, and then your filters last twice as long. Somewhere a bandit I do have a Ushanka buried under a pile of helmets. Oh, fucking hell, hiccups again. Helmets and hats. No, it's beer, Queenie. I'd say your local government website's bold in Telsky, but the problem you'll probably run into, if you're, say, for example, like similar to the UK, is there's lots of legislation, lots of it is legalese. So you kind of need to understand the physics to be able to read it. And then sometimes there's different legislation for different sources, or they overlap, or some don't apply if you're a private individual, some do apply, you know, if you're a business or stuff like that. So I'd say the easiest thing to do is, might sound weird, Google, and then make sure it's a trusted site you get your results from, is like, say, uranium or legal in, you know, thing, or is thorium legal in, and then your country. And don't go off with just forums where somebody goes, yeah, it's legal. No, it's not legal. You shouldn't have it, because, again, unless they're going to put sources to where they're getting that information, that's useless. That's not going to be a legal defense, is it? So what I've read is a lot of the UK stuff regarding, you know, transportation and ownership of materials when the licensing applies, depending on, like, curies or bickerels of, you know, activity from each source. And again, what I could understand from reading the UK stuff is that businesses in some ways are more harshly affected than private individuals. Because if you're a private individual, it seems, lots of the stuff, as long as it's not where it's going to contaminate anybody outside of your house, this is the important thing, it's legal. Like, not everything, of course, like you can't own plutonium or whatever, but the point is that, you know, it's a lot more lax. But it seems if you're a shop or a museum or whatever, then because you have a duty of care to your customers and staff and everything, it then gets a lot more complicated. Only one trainer, Giasio, because butterfly knives are illegal in the UK. It's technically legal in the UK, Oliver, whether or not, because that was what the police are asking about thorium lamp mantles, whether or not they can actually post it to you now, that's something I'm wondering. Because the Royal Mail thing on radioactive materials is really vague. But the thing is, like I was saying, there's lots and lots of shops in the UK, as far as I'm aware, that have never got in any trouble with the police for, you know, selling hundreds of thorium lamp mantles, you know, or similar things. So, you know, or mineral collectors who sell loads and loads and loads of pitch blend, you know, thorium-based rocks and all the other stuff. So, like I said, it's one of those things where, you know, I don't know really who you'd ask other than doing a lot of Googling and your own research. Maybe several grand fuzzy if I was lucky, I don't know. But yeah, the reason they did that, Oliver, is because thorium burns really brightly. It's like magnesium when it burns. Is thorium expensive? No. But yeah. The point is that I have to stress to people like Vladimir saying, make sure you read the laws in your country or where you're ordering from, because you don't want to get in trouble. You don't want to get other people in trouble. You know, and I said, don't just look on the forum where somebody says, yeah, you can do this, or no, you can't do this, because unless they're going to source where they're getting their stuff from, and laws change, don't forget as well. But the most horrible thing I was reading was apparently some Dutch collector of World War II aircraft dials who had some really, really rare Luftwaffe dials, had his collection destroyed because some EU legislation overnight meant his collection was illegal. And I guess because he'd done documenting of it in like a private museum, you know, they knew he had it. Yeah, thankfully the UK isn't that bad. It all comes down to in the UK again, it seems like how it's stored and all that. But and again, like museums have it stricter because museums have to make sure the public viewing the dials, you know, aren't going to be exposed to it. So they have to be set apparently so far back in the cabinet that the gamma rays aren't going to hit, you know, members of the public. But yeah, so, but the point is that, you know, the laws really depend on your thing. Because see there's an old aircraft dial, and that's been a repainted one, but it still has a bit of the trace radium paint underneath the repaint of it. That's why I have that one on the shelf, and I don't store it in like a lead-lined container, because it's literally background levels, you know. But the point is, like, I've done videos before on like the old marching compasses that sometimes have like quite a scary amount of radium in. No idea survive. In some countries, depleted uranium is considered way, way scarier than regular uranium ore. In other places, it's literally governed under the same rules as standard uranium ore, sometimes even less so, because people can't enrich depleted uranium. Yeah, there's a rapier in the background and a saber next to it. What a famous last words, Ben Blogs and Gaming. Max says 3.6 Rontgen. Not great, not terrible. No, let's see if this one is going off slightly higher than the others, you know, because I said about that rain. It looks like it's staying in the green, to be honest. Yeah. Yeah, it's weird where that rain's come down. So I've had a couple of people now confirm in other parts of the UK that they've had a bit of higher activity from it. Yeah. Do you taste metal? What is that? Although, Henry, somebody did explain to me in Discord the other day why do you taste metal is. Because I actually didn't know. I wondered, was it something to do with ionization of the air when it was at extreme amounts? It actually has a metallic taste. No, it's just because of their gums bleeding, basically. Yeah, I might do, George, when the rain's definitely stops, I'll go out again and do a quick check. You know, I could always check it with the alpha probe on the rate meter as well, because the alpha probe, you know, if there's alpha things in there, I'm going to pick those up. But yeah, like I said, I actually had to put my thing I was wearing before straight in the washing machine, because I came in and thought, right, I'll check that, and then that was ticking away as well, the jacket I had. No, I've not got a meter, Jan. I've got meters that don't go as high as 3.6 Rontgen, and I've got meters that go way higher than 3.6 Rontgen, but I don't have one that maxes out at 3.6 Rontgen. No, the policeman didn't even want to see any of this stuff, Vladimir. The one cop said, "No, it's fine. Don't worry about it." I'm assuming the Queen's asking me, do I own liquid iodine? No, I don't have any liquid iodine. No, well, so it's pointless having a test then, isn't it, Fun with Guns? Because you're either going to find out that you're positive or you're positive, if that's how they're doing it. I think the Queen's trying to entrap me now. All right, Gretchen, I'll be on about 2 more minutes and then I'll be back. I mean, I'll be off. All right, I was measuring the radioactive rain we potentially had. Max says, do you hear about the kid in the US that tried to make a reactor out of americium from smoke detectors? David Hann, yes, the nuclear Boy Scout. I know all about David Hann. I think maybe when the police came the other day, they were checking I wasn't turning into David Hann, because I think they'd be quite worried if I was turning the garden shed into, a makeshift reactor building, the neutron source in it. But yeah, you're on about David Hann, the nuclear Boy Scout. I know all about him. He's very interesting. He's kind of one of those people you think it's a bit of a waste he didn't get a science job, because he later died of alcoholism, didn't he, and all that. But somebody like that, if they were given a job, doing something properly, he might have been a really, really good scientist. But unfortunately, he was somebody who slipped through the cracks, did dangerous experiments at home, and made kind of a funny article to read about online. But, Oh, yeah, DN, if you can still get those filters for a good price, yes. Well, his didn't explode, Henry, I guess, so there's that, yes. But I don't think his produced any power either. It was just a neutron source, essentially. Well, Myra's masks aren't designed after anything. They are literally just other masks they've rebranded. Normally always Czech Republic military masks or Czech Republic civil defense or industrial masks. The one I wore outside, yeah, I had to put it straight in the wash. When I wore it outside, got covered in rainwater, came in and just did a contamination check of it. Yes, it was about triple background. It was about 0.6 microsievert, same as most of the rain I was looking at. So, yeah, that was why it was concerning, Oh, speaking of that, though, as well, that's another point, DN, when you said about tests, not to do with Corona, but another sense is apparently China's been caught recently, haven't they? Been doing like air and ground burst low-level nuclear tests in China. So again, that will lead to fallout because that's where it was really bad during the Cold War in like the 50s because America and the Soviets were all doing nuclear tests, contaminating. That's why there ended up being the policy towards thing. But yeah. Anyway, I'll be off now. Thanks everybody that donated. It's been a really good stream. I hope I got a Discord ID to everybody that asked for it. But yeah, anybody in the UK, as said, let me know if you've got a Geiger counter and you go outside and take some readings, because I'm very tempted. Not tempted, I'm very interested to hear what your readings are, because they shouldn't have been as high as they are, but they are. So anyway, thanks everybody. See you all, and have a good evening. Stay safe and all that. Right, goodbye. Bye-bye.